Live.
Hi guys, and welcome to another IFSS Google Hangout Live. Today we're going to be talking about three different things, mainly all involving Studio One. DjAirWax over in Canada is going to be talking about the Persona CS18, how he integrates that into Studio One workflow. He's going to be discussing about the mixer and how that automates externally, and he's going to explain how standard plugins that come with Studio One, how you can control those from the CS18.
That's that.
After that, myself, MeekPoitier, I'm going to be discussing about integrating Machine into Studio One, and not just using it as a sound source, but how you can actually control impact in Studio One, and I'll go a bit deeper into impact and explain all the little things that you probably are not doing with impact, with the exception of loading presets.
That's going to be good.
And SippEazy is going to be talking about SampleOne and about workflow improvement and tips that you can use SampleOne for within Studio One.
It's going to be a exciting show.
It's going to be a very exciting show, and we've actually managed to set up some multiple angles so you guys can actually see what's going on, and a little bit of an insight into our workflows. We thought we'd share that with you. All right, so having said all that, enough talk from me. Over to DjAirWax in Canada, and let him talk about the CS18. Over to you, Wax.
All right. If one of you guys just want to do a little tweet that we are live, I was going to do that, but since I'm going first, let me screen share.
There you go. I'll tweet that.
Okay. So I set up a few tracks here, and I'm basically going to start with the plugins first. I'm going to talk a little bit about compressor. I'll just bring it up so you know what it looks like. Talk about the compressor, talk about the coil right there, and the groove delay right here, and the red light distortion. So me myself, I don't have to use the mouse. I can use the CS18. It has little knobs that are all for like adjusting and setting them up and linking them with your controls and all your little VST standard plugins. You can also set up third plugins, but I'm not going to go too deep onto that. Nice. So starting off with compressor, just select my channel. I'm going to select effects, and it pops up. I can actually minimize it from the CS18 as well, and I can blow it up. I wish I could bring the camera in closer so you can see exactly what I'm doing, but you can kind of see my hands where they're going, and if you look at the screen, you'll be able to see the knobs.
Yeah, we can just increase the size of the actual window for the Hangouts, and we can actually see that it's, increase it as much as we can. It's best we can do, I guess. So yeah, tip to you guys.
Also, with these here scribble steps, we get 16 scribble steps that are very detailed, and it tells you for each little parameter and button what it's controlling and changing. So this first one is the side chain, and it's just a button actually. So when I turn it all the way up, it clicks it off and on. So you're not really going to see any knobs move. Second one is side chain as well. Third one is auto. Let me just try to find one. Right here, we got our threshold. So if I was, I'm sure you all know how compression works. So if I wanted to adjust my kick, how hard it's coming in, this would be the knob to adjust that. And you can go very slow and get right in there and do some real detailed stuff. That's what I like about it the most. When you get used to what knob is what, in the standard settings, even like to read it, it's right there. It's very easy to find out. We got gain right here, mix, knee. I will say that having the CS18 makes making music a lot more fun. It gives you that actual studio feel because I'm touching the DAW basically with my hands out here physically.
Yeah.
So that's the compressor. Not really going to play too many sounds or anything. Just basically showing you guys the plugins. So again, I push effect, hit chorus, plugin pops up. First button being delay, second button spacing. Spacing is up here, you can't really even see it. Third one, you got your LFO shape, speed, LFO width, and here you can change your shapes as well. So yeah, it's very basic, but the thing about it is that like you don't have to use your mouse. So if you're trying to get away from the mouse feel and staring at the keyboard or the monitors, this is really going to take that away and give you the real in the studio feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really things I really hate is having to go and tweak every little knob with that mouse, reach all the way across the setup.
Yeah.
I hate that.
It's annoying too when you have to find the mouse, all the time, and like really locate the mouse and then bring it all the way back and then click, click, click. When I just have to come over here, tap, tap. The buttons are where they're supposed to be. It's very standard, and I could just get into what I need to do.
Yeah.
Right here, I'm messing with groove delay. And this actually sounds pretty cool when you're messing with like hi-hats or a snare and you want to get a extended thing on there because it got 4 little extra sound tabs. And they're very easy to control and manipulate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like it's being in the real studio, isn't it? It's like you're working in an analog studio, but you're working on a digital thing. So it's the real deal. It's what these controllers were made for. And I mean, it really is fantastic, and you are in complete control of what you are doing. And to add to the point that you actually feel that you're turning the physical knobs on the actual compressors and things like that, and that will ultimately help you to do a better mix.
Yeah, like I find too, like with my mixing, I use my ears and my hands more rather than my eyes and my ears.
Exactly.
For mixing like that and mastering,
you're
going to need to train your ears. So it helps me in that way to train my ears.
Yeah, I was actually watching Hangout the other day with Richard Devine about modulars, and they were talking about the same thing as to modular scenes that is very much hands-on, but they were saying that whenever they're recording to a DAW like Logic or Pro Tools or something, they end up actually watching the screen rather than listening, so they start mixing visually. We've actually mentioned this before in previous Hangouts. So the advantage of the controller here is that you don't even have to look at your screen, but then you are 100% on your ears.
Yeah.
You're actually mixing it like a real console in a big professional studio outfit. Yeah, it's absolutely invaluable. Definitely.
Well, the fact that PreSonus went the extra mile to allow you to control your VST plugins, what's greater than that?
Absolutely.
Like all the standard plugins in PreSonus Studio One come pre-programmed.
Oh, that's sweet.
So any third party plugins, I would just have to program it in with the link control.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to do, and then just save it, and it will be saved the next time I come back to that.
Sweet. Yeah, I know it's a really big help. Is that I mean I was craving something like this way back in around about 2004, something like that. I kept asking a lot of the manufacturers, oh, you bring in a plug-in and a controller out so we can actually do the real thing, because I don't want to go out and buy, you know, big desk and things like that. Are you bringing this out? Are you bringing this out? And I've obviously listened to people like Mick, so I wasn't the only one to, you know, actually develop this stuff. And it's a real godsend. It looks great. I'm sure it feels fantastic.
It has quite a bit of weight on it too. It's pretty heavy. Like, I was impressed when I pulled it out of the box. I was just like, oh wow, this is actually mine.
I imagine for making microtonal adjustments, especially on knobs and things like that, you're going to be able to do that far easier than trying to poke a mouse around the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure. Does it make your workflow quicker?
It does. Like, I don't even use the spacebar to hit play, and I do not click play anymore when I'm making music inside Studio One. I automatically goes to the transport section, and that's what I use: play, stop, rewind, record. Yeah. It's all right there. So I'm used to having my hand automatically right here in this position. This is where my hand is. It's like having another mouse, but there's a lot more buttons than a mouse.
No, that's sweet. That's really quick. No, good stuff.
So even with Presonus, they went farther than just making motorized controller. They have these faders that are there's 18 of them, 100 millimeter, touch sensitive. That means if you put your finger on it, it doesn't chase you and it doesn't move away from you. It stops and does what you're telling it to do.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
I don't know, I haven't had the advantage to touch any of the old motorized mixers, but it sounds like they used to do that, chase your fingers and stuff like that, and get away from you sometimes.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
So we get one flex meter as well, and this flex meter can be programmed to be any group. You can group a whole bunch of faders together. You can control the sound from all the faders with just this one flex meter. And of course you get your master fader. And then they're all touch sensitive. You can add up to 64 channels with this bad boy. You get A group, B group, C group, and D group.
Right, okay.
Not to mention that I only use this in the studio. Like, I haven't had the pleasure yet to use it live, but I do have that capability of using it live, and I'm pretty sure it would perform the job well.
Yeah.
So I have instant control, like you all know what the channel strip is, right?
Oh, yeah.
I loaded a channel strip on the mixer here just so I could show you guys this. So yeah, I got instant control of this channel strip. It's already programmed and lit up.
Nice.
Right on the mixer. I gotta do select it, hit effects, pull it up, and I can control everything right here. Right here I'm controlling the knee.
Yeah. Nice, nice.
High-pass filters, threshold, range, attack. Got your release. And right here you get your power. You can turn it on, turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn it off. Limiter. Turn it on, turn it off. Equalizer. I love the master chain. It makes mixing your music and actually going in and edit it, that final stage, much more pleasant to have that.
More fun, yeah. I can totally see that. So you're not actually stuck there just, again, visual thing. You're not moving boxes and pulling things. You're physically, that I can see that immediately.
For every channel, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. For every channel, every 16 channels, you get 12 LED channel scripts. That means there's like 12 little light indications of like your metering on every channel. Now, you only get that on some mixers. You might have like 4 LCD lights trying to tell you where you're at. So imagine mixing on that.
Right, yeah.
So my question: change the light colors on the CSA?
Yeah, you can change the light channels. All the light channels on every channel. RGB, get your basic colors.
Oh, that's sweet. So, but does that mean then that you can group things easier? So if you've got all your drums in green, you can
Very
line
easy
up all
on
your
here.
channels green.
You get all your groups right here. You can get all your groups off. You can turn them all on. Program them. You hit the edit button, and you would just hit that, and then you would just select which ones you want to put in that group.
Yeah.
Bam, and it would save it.
Oh man.
That's
no
good.
mouse.
Yeah, no mouse.
So how much does one of these cost then?
It's a pretty penny. 37 over here in Canada.
Whew. Yeah,
3,700.
looks good.
Worth every penny.
Yeah, right. Top end
But,
stuff.
like me, I bought this mixer because I wanted a mixer. I knew I wanted to be mixing. When I first seen a mixer, I was just impressed with the way the mixer did the sound, you know. And you go and you use one of these DAWs, and it's like, well, cute mixer, but it's not a mixer. You know what I mean? It's cute, but it's not a mixer. I know there's something better out there. So for me, I always liked the PreSonus mixers, but back before they did the AI update, those mixers were not motorized. The faders weren't pretty.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a basic mixer, and you had to slide it around. I didn't like the fact that it would not save your settings that you make. You can save all your pre-settings. Go on the computer, type it up, save it as whatever you want, click, turn it off, come back, hit a button, go back, and it loads up the way you saved it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's another sweet feature about it. I don't have to use that feature because I'm using it in the studio, and in my DAW, it saved that for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, great stuff. Okay.
Also, you can do an optional mount on this thing with an iPad, and you can use your UCI controller for Studio One.
Right, yeah, okay. I was going to ask about that. If it were, wow, that's really sweet if you can do that on your iPad as well.
It's the same footprint as the Studio Live 16's AI. Yeah. So any kind of like third-party desk fits right into a 19-inch rack mount.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for the CS18 I wanted to show you guys.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot for that, Wax. That's
besides all the mixers, the controllers and stuff like that, it's a sweet unit.
Right.
Very sweet unit.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I guess it's my turn then. Right, let me switch over. Let me share this screen then. The entire screen. Here we go. All right, guys, you should see me now. Let me close this off. All right. Can you guys see my screen okay? I'm wiggling my mouse.
You're there.
Right, okay. So I'm going to talk about impact and machine. So we've got up here, right-hand corner, we've got machine there, and I'm down here. That's me. Okay. If we open up Studio One, how to add an instrument, basically, if we load the instrument, in this particular case, impact, so we'll load this and create a track. Okay, brings up here our Studio One. Just a minute, I've lost my machine because I'm not floating it. Just bear with me. Float that on top. There we go. So I've got my impact here. Now, before we get into this, we'll just load a kit. The first kit, I've got 60s Go-Go here. So as I scroll over it, you can hear that stuff. Okay, you guys know how it all works. I wanted to, when I first bought Studio One, I thought, oh man, this is great. I love impact. It gives me like the idea of an MPC or the machine, and I've got the pads available. If I could only use those pads physically, then I would get an easy groove rather than trying to tap. You just can't. It's very difficult. So I set up Machine as an external controller. Now you do that by going into quickly. Oh, it's Studio One, Preferences. Click up there. You find here, normally it's set to general, but you go over to external drive devices, you go to add device, and basically it brings you up a big list of various controllers, okay? And you just scroll down to native instruments, click on machine controller, receive from machine, whatever, and you send to whatever. You leave those as none. Forget all this after programming stuff. If you just want to whack the pads, then just go ahead and press OK. And what that does then is it brings up here, I mean, you can see here I've got several controllers that I'm using. I've got a microcorg, I've got MPC 2000 XL, which works the same way as the machine, and I've got the machine controller here.
Prophet 12 too?
Yeah, Prophet 12 as well. I use that to control stuff because it's quite a large, handy keyboard. So it's
you
here.
Fatty up there. I see you, Meek.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really good for various things. So sometimes I'm using my synths basically to control different instruments. So if I'm not actually using the synths themselves for the sounds that I've got, say I'm using something like Mai Tai or something in Contact, then I can actually use different synths physically to control it, which again comes down to the whole physical aspect, rather opposed to just clicking and pushing knobs and trying to program. No, just play it in and record it. So, okay, now I've got that set up. If we look here, once the controller's set up, if I click a button here, if I go over to press Shift Control, that then switches machine, as you can see up here, as the controller. Okay, so it's away, it's going away. Let's let me restart, stop, whatever. Okay. Now, up here, where I've lost my pen now, doesn't matter. Up here, on this screen, once you've hit Shift Control, you'll see 16 little squares, and they've all got notes. C-1, C#1, all the way up to D#0. Now, those are really important. Now, I'm going to show you how you connect it. So, with your machine on MIDI control mode, you have to go over here. Let's bring up Inspector over here with the I. You bring that up and you make sure that impact, if you go down here, that the out is impact and the channel is set to impact here. And then up here on your impact instrument, you'll see machine. You select the controller, machine control, okay, that you set up. And that, then, when you hit the pad, you'll see it hitting certain things, okay? Now, just bear a second. I don't know why this is... Okay. So, as you see, when I hit the pad, you can see it doing something, okay? Now, if we see here, these are mapped wrong, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to change that so when you hit the bottom pad, that this tambourine plays, okay? In fact, let's change the kit. Let's change it to something like Crunkzilla. Okay. So there we go. Nothing happens there. So what we'll do is we go over here, if you see my cursor here, over to this position here. Trigger first and trigger second. Now this is how we map it. If we look on our machine screen here at the top, you'll see my pen top right on your screen, C0, and that is attributed to this pad down here. So we change this over here back on our impact instrument to C0. So C0, return that, and same on the second, C0. You don't need to do the second, but it's best to do that. So if you wanted to layer those instruments, you could actually choose another pad, and then you would input that as whatever, G1 or something, and it would trigger that sample at the same time. But in this particular case, we just want one sample per pad. So if now we press this pad, you'll see here that the pad actually works. I'm pressing the pad on here. See, if I go to the next one and I press that pad, nothing happens, okay? So we'll change that second pad. We look up here on our screen at the top and we see it's C#0. Click that one. Go over here. You'll see it's set to C1, but we'll do it to C#-1. Go over to the next one. You can press Tab. C#-1. That now. Oh wait, I pressed wrong one. What is it? It's just C#. I don't know why I put C#0, not -1. C#0, and over to the next one. Minus C#0. Now that, as you see, first one, second one. So if we highlight this one at the top, doesn't matter. When we press out machine pad, it'll be there. Okay. So you can see here on the left-hand side, when you hit it, it's triggering off the samples from Impact, not from your machine. Okay. But if you wanted to do it from machine, you can do that by just bringing in. If you go over here to the left-hand side to our instruments, if you bring in machine onto another track, you can then, it's just working away, you can then use machine to do something, okay? So if I'm on 2 AM, so let's click this, when it wants, oh well, I have to take it off control, take it off control, when it wants to, it works that way well, and I'm just having a bit of a beef here. So these are, if we go to say 4Life kit, these are the actual sounds from machine, and you can see on the left-hand side there. So if you were to record that track, you'd have the actual element from that, okay? And then you can mess around with MIDI in here and program it. But we're not about that. That's old school way of doing it. So the new school way is we use Impact. Okay, now I've just, my camera's shifted. There we go. So we use Impact now to do that. So let's go back to shift mode, and hopefully it hasn't shifted from here. There you go, still programmed. And all we do then is we just go through and we set up all these other pads. Okay, so quickly we'll set it up to D0. So back to trigger first, D0, over to the next one, D0, and the next one over that is D#0. So back here, D#0, D#0, and there we've got our, okay, so that's now mapped to it. Now, moving on, okay, that's how basically you map Impact to machine. Okay, some of you will know this, some of you won't. Now I want to step a little bit more into detail about this. Now over here on the right hand side of the Impact instrument, you've got these things. Now I'm sure most of you are not even touching this stuff. Now you should, because it's all relevant. Okay, so for example, we've got a bass drum here. If we increase that, it means the attack. Okay, this means hold, this D means decay. Okay, so the amount of attack is how quickly you get that sound as soon as you hit your pad. So that is fast attack, slow attack. You can hear the difference, and if you put hold, increase that, it'll go, and decreasing stuff. All this is relevant to pitch. Turn transpose, you can hear the difference right now. So just by moving transpose, which is changing the key, to tune, you can fine tune it with ease. Envelope starts working on these here. Okay, so how quickly it is. If you put maximum attack, you can hear how it's working. And velocity is how much force you're giving it, okay?
Are you able to layer when you're adding kicks into a pad?
Yeah, you can do, and you change this here down here over trigger 1 and trigger 2. So if I change that, say, to, don't know, E0, is there an E0 on here? A, B, C, no. Oh yeah, E0 should be the clap with any luck. So it should be right E0. So basically, we have to go through. And we have to change these to E0. So if I change that to...
And you do that with just selecting the key that you want.
Yeah, yeah. So if you go to E0, E0, see? So the I've changed that one to E0. You're layering it there. So you're pressing the bass drum at the same time.
That's dope.
So that's basically how you would do it. So yeah, you can transpose that. So we're dealing with a clap now. So by messing about with this stuff, you can start to affect all the stuff here. Okay, that's just pitch. And the same thing with cutoff, and they can really affect how you're working, okay? So that's that. Let's stick to this drum. Yeah, go ahead, Sip. So you can get...
No, go ahead.
You can, for example, if you want an OVO type sound, where basically they rolled off the thing, you can just go here, second one down, and just roll off the cutoff, because that's your frequency. And then you can start to get different things, and by messing around with your envelopes, which then you add this here, and you little steps. I'm being rather drastic with this stuff, but once you start to mess around with this is your resolution. You can start to do different, you get all sorts of different effects. So before you're done, you've got a completely different thing. Also, what's good is here you've got different types of low pass filters available.
Oh, sweet.
Low pass at 24 decibels is different from the 12. You hear the subtle difference. And again, you can change this kind of stuff. So as you change the filters, remember to change your envelopes and stuff. And that's how you know, so you can go however you want. And of course, all this stuff here, as we're moving it, if you're recording something, you can actually record all this automation at the same time. Whenever you set off and you press record, so for example, we select something up here, say like, let me see, once it wants to do it, so say we go for 1 bar loop here, alright. And we loop that, and then we record this to make sure it's record enabled. So I'll stop that to loop that. So as we see here, just chop this off here because we don't need this. Okay, so if we play that back, you'll hear the bass drum. Well, stop that, zero that. So you can see that. Okay. So if you've done that, and at the same time, cause I've got one hand here in front, but you record all this. If you press record. Now, if we're lucky, hopefully it will have recorded that automation now. So if you see, look, this is, you look to the filter cutoff here, and you can see that the automation is recorded, and you can actually see it there. So if we want to keep doing that, if we press record, we'll play that. So you can see stuff is moving, okay? So basically that'll play it all back, and obviously you can do that at the same time that you're actually doing your pads and stuff, okay? You can go ahead and you can do various things and tweak it, and you know, it'll work. And basically
the CS team is good at doing automation as well.
Absolutely, no, it's
especially live.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can set all this up, so all these things will actually be all controlled from machine and things like that. But basically the pads are what I wanted to show you, because that's the most useful thing that you can do. Oops, there goes my camera. So you can actually use it like that. And basically, guys, that's it from me.
Awesome. Right. I think that's a wonderful technique, and you guys should check it out, honestly.
Yeah, it's very useful. It's very quick. and it's worth you know, mastering it, definitely.
Word. Can you guys see my screen? Is everything looking straight over there on you guys' side?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
this
good.
is sample one out of Studio One. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you a way that you could use sample one to make your workflow faster. I know you guys just saw Impact, and Impact is a great drum machine within
Can you turn your
inside of
mic up a little, Sip? Sorry.
my thing is all the way up. Do I need to talk?
That's good. That's good. That's good. There, right there, right there.
All right, so I'm gonna talk up. So what you can do with sample one, you can pull in samples inside of sample one, and there's different. If you can see my mouse here, there's different settings at the bottom. You have different envelopes. There's a attack, a delay, a sustain, and a release. So say for instance, if you pull in an instrument, let's say I pull in a violin. So if I pull in a violin with the regular settings, you can play polyphonic notes. And if you click the monophonic tab at the bottom, you can no longer play multiple notes at once. You can only play one. And that comes in handy when you're creating your music. If you click the glide, it allows you to get that glide effect, which a lot of people use on their 808s. I don't know
Yeah.
if you can hear that.
Yeah,
So,
legato in real world. Yeah, it's good.
okay, so when you're working with this, there's a couple of more settings other than just loading in a sample and using it as a sampler. Studio One, they allow you to manipulate their software to make it your own.
Right.
So when I press the C, I can also change my attack on my envelope, on my first envelope. If I push it all the way up, it slows the attack. With those three different settings, with a slow attack, a glide, and a monophonic note, you can create some very, very good sounds using that. If you change the release, you tap the note. If you let it go, it'll still be playing after you've let it go, which is a kind of cool thing if you want to get that effect. One of the great things I love about this is I have my files, my audio files, my wave files in different locations on my computer sometimes. I have multiple different folders. So when I want to keep that folder, if I want to keep these violins set like this, I could save this as a preset. And if I save this as my violin, SippEazy's violins, and I type IFS under the description, now I have a place where I can just always access those samples. And that's just a sample that is original.
Right. So basically, you're using your keyboard then to control that. So what it's done is it's mapped out that sample to your keyboard. Yeah. So you could actually then play in a scale or whatever you wanted. Yeah.
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah. Cool. Yes. In fact, you could do similar thing with Impact. Instead of having the keyboard, you could actually put Impact. If you mapped machine or whatever to it, you could actually then play the violins with the pads as well using SampleOne. Right. Yeah.
Dope. That's dope.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Yeah.
So when you have set up one envelope, if you set up a folder or a preset, you never have to re-go and set those up. You never have to go and find those samples again. And I'll give an example. I have some presets that I've already saved that I use commonly. But if I wanted to go through this folder, instead of having to click, and what I would normally have to do is delete this, go back and find another one, and then just like that, I would have to continuously change my sample like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
A ton of violins right here, and those are the options. And I know I want a violin sound. I don't have to keep changing that. I'll have my MIDI already set, and I could just,
Right.
let's say, for instance, I'll record some MIDI real fast. So let's get some MIDI going. Okay, they're submitted. I know that was funny, but
It works, man. It doesn't matter. We can see.
okay. So now we have this MIDI, and let's say I don't like that violin. All I have to do now is click next, and it will give me the next violin in this folder.
Right. Okay.
Once I find the sound that I'm pleased with, I would just that sound, and I could do the same with any other instrument, whether it be bass, kick, hi-hat, snare, just a regular sample I maybe got from somewhere else. But it could really quicken your workflow and make your sample searching a lot faster when you already dug out these different melodies that you have or instruments that you use.
All
And
right.
that's my section, guys.
That's cool, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Good stuff. All right.
There we go.
So, if anyone's got any questions online, that would be great. I've got nothing here at the moment.
If there's any topics you guys would like us to do a show on, just comment. You can inbox one of us, email, and we'll try to make a show on your topic, explaining what it is that you need to learn or need help on.
Absolutely.
You cut out, Meek.
And that's the best place to get all our information. And then obviously you can track us through Infamous FSS at Twitter, or on Facebook at Infamous Foreign Sound Society, and through Google Plus, and of course YouTube. Check out all those channels. Subscribe. You know, send us some comments, good or bad. We like to hear it. It keeps us going. That's why we do this. You know, because we enjoy it, but we like to help you guys out. We're giving something back to you guys, and without you, it makes our job a lot more difficult. But with your help, we can give you something that you want to hear, something that's relevant to you. Yeah.
You know, like he was saying initially, the link is up here on this side of the screen, iforeignsounds.com. We didn't get that little bit, so that's where the link is. It's up there. If you guys can't spell it, it's right there for you guys.
Nice one. That's me. That's it for me. That's Meek out from London, UK.
We'll see you guys next weekend with another topic. We'll keep you surprised and waiting.
All right.
Over and out, guys.
Check out our new iPod station, too. Take care.
Bye now.